good. Good day for us today. You know, I think coming into this year we knew we'd have a smaller recruiting class, only 13 guys signed today, but we didn't have many seniors on last year's team. Coming in, we kind of knew that'd be a situation that this year's group would be a little bit smaller. Excited about the guys. Corey Charles, great athlete out of Florida. You watch him, a dynamic player with the ball in his hands. Came up, he worked at camp at corner for us, and did a great job there, you know, and I think we're going to look at starting on the defensive side of the ball, but, you know, I guess I've been wrong with that stuff before, and we usually find a good home for guys that are great high school football players out there on the field, because I thought Gabe Miles would make a heck of a corner, and he's a pretty darn good wide receiver, and John Banks would be a pretty good wide receiver. Not a half bad corner, so those things can kind of go back and forth for us. Jamal Couch coming in as a wide receiver for us, obviously 6'5", 215. You know, really coming in on the roster. We had one with Deronia Wilson declaring for the draft, opened up only one receiver spot for us really on the roster to fill this year, and he fits that with his size. You know, very similar player. You look at him. Is a guy on the offensive side of the ball that has got great skill, can go up over people, catch balls, has good speed for a guy his size, and is really just a tough matchup on anybody out there in space. Cam Dancer is a guy we targeted very, very early as a top corner for us. If you look at his size, his length, reminds me a lot of John Banks when John was in high school. As a guy that has length, has great cover skills, was up in several camps with us this summer, so we got to see the ability he had out there on the field and the different ways that we're going to need him to perform at the high level. So really excited about him in what he brings to the table. Greg Island, one of the top offensive linemen in Mississippi, just a 6'7". He's all of 6'7". He might be bigger. You know, we're gonna have to watch, maybe get him a little helmet to wear, or he's going to have to duck walking in and out of doors around the building. You know, we're going to have to make some taller doors. But, you know, great tackle body for us. John Michael Hankerson, another athlete. Again, not sure if he's going to play receiver or corner for us moving forward. But was a guy that we had in camp. We identified very early in camp. I'm pretty sure he won the 100-meter state champ in Mississippi. He's also the 100-meter state champion in Indiana throughout his high school career. He's from here in Mississippi, moved up to Indiana during his high school career. An explosive player on both sides of the football. The fastest player we had on campus all year in all of our camps. And, you know, really excited to have him on board, and what he brings is a dynamic playmaker on both sides of the ball. Kobe Jones, a guy that we were thrilled to have right here, hometown guy coming to play for his hometown, and representing everybody here in Starkville. I know that made everybody proud here in town and over at Starkville High School. But you look at Kobe, he really, you know, he is what our program's all about. The effort, the character, doing things the right way all the time, is a guy that we're so excited about. You know, what most attracted me to him is a guy, every time we had him at camp, you know, even if he's be here, and I know they get all the stars and all that stuff, he's always going to be one of the if not the hardest working guy you're going to see every single day in every single drill. And that's the, you know, you look at stuff, we get into recruiting, you know, we're looking for work ethic, we're looking for high character young men, and he fits that for us. Nero Nelson, a dynamic athlete, again, receiver and DB and running back and high school quarterback, does everything for his high school team over there at Simmons High School over in Hollandale. Is a guy, though, that can really, really explosive. You know, another guy, and I guess you'll hear me say this all the time, competitor. Loves to compete. You know, we had him at camp. You ask him to go play receiver, he's the first one in line. Play corner, first one in line. It doesn't matter. He wants to keep going, and compete at everything that he does. So we're thrilled to have him. Darion Parker, I thought, you know, you look at what he is, just a massive guy at 6'5", and he's all of that. 326 is probably conservative, but very, very athletic for a guy his size. I know in the Miss Al game, a lot of people said he was the top lineman in the Miss Al game this year when you talk to players. And out there on the field, and you know, I mean, a big, powerful guy. Could play tackle, could play guard. Stuart Reese, the same deal, 6'5", 340. Again, those are probably, I think, a little conservative. I think we had him around 365 mark, maybe 6'6", 365. He's a big, big man, but very athletic on his feet. Again, can play, I think, can play multiple positions. Could play guard, could play tackle for us. Coming in here, see how he adjusts, but great young man, high character, hard work, and really excited to have him on board. Jeffrey Simmons, obviously a great football player, top player in the state of Mississippi. On most of your guys' rankings, not mine. He's a top player in my rankings too. But thrilled to have him, and you know, and all the discussions we had during the recruiting of Jeffrey is that he was #1 on our list, not just because of the talent he is out there on the field. But I've known Jeffrey now for about three years, and you look at what he does in the classroom, you look at what he does in his community, you look at the effort he gives at everything he does, and how he's developed. He's a first-class young man, you know, and I see him potentially, you know, being in next Fletcher Cox, Caleb Ewells, Pernell McPhee. You know, when you start getting mentioned with those guys, you're talking about some of the top D linemen ever play here. I guess Fletcher Cox, maybe one of the top D linemen in all of football right now. He's up there in that discussion. But I think he has that work ethic, that demeanor, that attitude, that he's a very, very special player. Marquis Spencer out of Greenwood, we're really excited about. Athlete, as a D lineman, you know, and I mean, I guess you could put the athlete tag on him, but he's going to be a defensive end outside linebacker for us, kind of an edge player, coming outside, very, very explosive, has great size, has great potential. I see him having the opportunity to make an immediate impact for us next year, right away on the field. Jordan Thomas. I think people are going to be impressed when they see Jordan Thomas. You know, at 6'6", 275, which is pretty accurate at a tight end. In all our evaluation, he's more of a wide receiver than a tight end at 6'6", 275. So that's a pretty tough matchup on the outside for people. Runs extremely well, great hands. You know, and I think just his size and athleticism creates major mismatches for people out there on the field, and you know, and he's another guy I see making an immediate impact for us. Errol Thompson, linebacker out of Florence, Alabama. He was the #1 linebacker on our board right from day one for us. To get him on board, we're excited. He is a violent hitter inside. I mean, he is an inside linebacker. He's got size. He's got pop. He'll come hit you. He can really run the football down. So really excited about those guys. You know, we had 6 other guys join us mid-semester that are already on board. But you know, as I said, a lot of people were asking today. I thought we'd probably sign 12, 13, 14 guys. Today would be the most we'd be able to sign, just with such a small senior class we had. So excited about all these guys that are coming in. I think we've got a great group of young men, and I think it was a very, very successful day for us today.
Questions? We'll get a mic to you.
I thought it was pretty in-depth right there.
Yeah.
Listening to your descriptions of all the players, it seemed like almost every one could be a multiple position type guy. Is that kind of athletes you were looking for in this class specifically?
I think when we look, it's hard a lot of times, you know, when we go to evaluate players, it's hard to kind of put them in a box. And some of them you have a good idea. But you know, when you're looking at some of these guys that play every position for their high school team, it's sometimes hard to just say, okay, you're definitely going to do this. Or, you know, I think we'll have a vision in our mind, which is always our starting point. But, you know, I mean, if you look at through the years, there's a lot of guys that had a starting point and it doesn't turn out. It turns out, you know, I've visioned this. It turns out completely different than what I envisioned, but extremely well for everybody. And so, you know, when you have some of those guys, it's sometimes hard to just say they're going to play this position until we get them and put them within our scheme.
Coach, it's kind of this area always has good talent, but this year was kind of different with so many, probably more than the norm. Did that almost make it more difficult with the local kids, or?
No, I don't think this year was any different in state than it's been in years past. I think maybe guys got ranked a little higher, but you know, I think my first year here recruiting, we signed almost a lot of Mississippi kids, and I think 12 of them ended up being NFL football players. A lot of those guys weren't ranked as high as guys were this year. So, but I don't know that it was any different this year than it's been in years past. I think there's just guys in Mississippi are getting a lot more national attention right now.
Not only this year, but just in years in general, what's it like recruiting players within Starkville or West Point or wherever in the Golden Triangle? Because there seems to be this pressure that it's almost a lock. They have to come here. What's it like, the perception-wise, and kind of how does that meet the reality?
I don't know that it's any different recruiting players that are local or players that are far away. We recruit them all just as hard, you know. I think in young men, I think what gets overlooked, there's a lot of pressures put on these young men from all different directions. You know, everybody has an angle trying to work and what they're doing, and they have to deal with these pressures. You're talking about 17-year-olds. They're having to deal with all kinds of pressures, and I tell all of them, I don't envy them, you know, in having to make decisions in those situations that they're at. But I think that is something that is oft overlooked when you look at the recruiting process with young people and the pressures them and their families are under.
Coach, this year, first year junior college guys could come to camp, and Jordan Thomas came to camp. How did that work for you, and how do you see that going forward?
He came to camp. He started moving around. I said, I don't know what the heck he's going to do, but we need him on our football team. And so he came. He was a tight end drill. I'm like, hey, go over there, play some wide receiver. You know the great thing? He ran over and played wide receiver. Nobody covered him at tight end, and nobody could cover him at wide receiver. You know, he goes out and he's running by people. I'm like, holy cow! Like, go rush the passer. You know what he did? He ran down and rushed the passer. And you know, but you know, you could just see his strength on the offensive side of the ball of being a mismatch. And you know, it's a guy that I don't think was really. I still even to this day don't know that he did start to get rated a little bit at the end of the year. But when he committed to us, I don't even know if he was on anybody's list or anybody's radars as a top prospect. But I think that is a huge advantage that those guys come up to camp and they came here and he got on the field and wowed our entire coaching staff.
We spoke with A.J. Brown earlier today at Starkville, and he said that he felt that Mississippi State didn't want him. I guess, what do you remember from his recruiting class, and did you want him, I guess?
Sure. I mean, I get it. We recruited him as hard as we recruited anybody else that's out there. And yeah, we wish him the best. You know, our program's not very good.
Coach, can you talk about working around the staff changes, Coach Hughes leaving, bringing guys in, guys out, and how that was able to function around that?
Yeah, you know, it's tricky. Obviously, you know, Tony, I haven't talked to Tony today, and hopefully he had a good day as well. Wishing him the best. I think, you know, I think anytime you lose a coach the quality of a Tony Hughes, it always hurts your program, you know. And I mean, we had other changes, but I don't think Tony was the guy to me that, you know, he'd been here with me now all 7 years, and you know, so I think when he moves on, I couldn't be happier. Obviously, which is what you want as a head coach. You want your you know, you want your players graduate and have the opportunity to go play in the NFL or get great careers and jobs like pretty much all our guys do. But the same for the coaches, that you want as a head coach. You want to see your coaches grow and develop and get great opportunities to be a head coach. So we had to work around it a little bit with Tony, because I know he does such a great job, especially on the recruiting side of things at Mississippi. But I thought our staff as a whole did an excellent job. You know, you look at a lot of the guys that we got were still in his area. You know, if you look at guys that were kind of Tony Hughes recruits, and Jordan Thomas and Jeffrey Simmons, you know, we were able to get those guys on board.
Coach, obviously you have recruiting never stops, but you had a lot of underclassmen up here a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of the guys, a lot of the feedback was about the I guess the energy with Terrell Buckley and Peter Sermon. Yeah. Talk about what you've seen from them recruiting early on.
Well, I think not just recruiting, but who they are as coaches and around our players. And you know, I think one thing I've always tried to do within our program, if we're bringing new coaches in, it's always important that one, they care greatly about the players, and they're going to treat them like they're their own sons as part of a family. And two, they're obviously excellent technicians and football coaches and great teachers. You know, and then three, have tremendous energy in what they do and love what they do and love helping young people develop. And both of those guys have that. You know, when you look at all of them, the energy they bring on a daily basis is outstanding. Two excellent young up-and-coming coaches. You know, and also, though, you're looking at the experience, the tremendous amount of NFL experience that, you know, I mean, when they're out there coaching it, you know, they're coaching, they've done it. And they've done it over and over and over at the highest of levels.
What's your expectation for Trey Brown, Lashard, Durr factoring in this season?
Well, I think, you know, obviously, anytime you get the opportunity to get here early, it's going to put you in a great position to get on the field and play right away. You look at the, you know, obviously with you know, with guys, the corner with two graduating, couple of senior corners last year, it's going to give, you know, give Lashard an excellent opportunity to get out there and compete for a spot on the field. You know, with Trey coming in, also the same deal with Chris Jones declaring early for the NFL draft opens up playing time on the defensive line for those guys to have that opportunity. I think they're getting adjusted to workouts right now, probably working at a little different level than they've worked in the past. Not that they haven't worked hard, and you know, I think both guys play down at Colin Junior College. They do an excellent job in that program, very, very well coached program. But you know, when they're coming in competing against guys and have to be ready to go play in the SEC, I think they're going to get used to the workouts. Coming in early is going to help that, because now they're going to get to go through spring practice, then get through summer workouts, and have a great opportunity ready to get on the field and play right away.
One of the things a lot of the signings